Hello, everyone. This is Patrick Hiebert from EcoVillages. I'm excited to present to you today and want to really appreciate Zach and Jason having me on their conference again this year. It's been fun every year doing these things, so I'm going to try to get through this fairly quickly, but there's a fair amount of information that we're talking about. So like I said, I'm from EcoVillages. We design communities throughout Latin America, and all these communities have tiny homes, so it's fitting that we're on a tiny home conference today. My background was my son and I lived on a sailboat and other boats for a while in our lifetime, and a lot of our ideas came from that. And sailboats are kind of the ultimate in tiny homes. They're very compact, very efficient use of space. So we took a lot of ideas from that. We were living up in the Victoria, Vancouver, Canada area, sailing around there, and really just really enjoyed living on the boat. I always tell people it's great because if you don't like your neighbors, you can always leave in your yard, and you always have everything with you when you never lose anything on your vacations because you're on your boat, and that's where your home as well. So you're taking your home on your vacations. It's a great life. But we learned a lot about self-sufficiency, producing your own power, producing your own water from desalination, obviously catching your own food and all those sorts of things. And we wanted to apply that to land. And that's where the tiny home concepts really started. So why are you here? Why are you on this presentation or part of the tiny house conference? Most of the time, I think, and we have a lot of people that come to live in our communities that love tiny homes and we build tiny homes for them. And I think there's a huge connection between the whole tiny home movement and personal freedoms. Our company, EcoVillages, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, we really focus on freedom and sustainability in our communities. And when you're looking at tiny homes, it's probably not because you're particularly wanting to live in a tiny space. It's because you have, a minimalist kind of mentality, philosophy, and you want to kind of cut back on the stresses of life and the financial burdens of big homes and all those sorts of things. So I think that ties in really well. And it's probably the reason why tiny homes are extremely popular in our freedom-oriented communities as well. So as I said, we design freedom and sustainability-oriented communities throughout tropical locations. I'm actually sitting right now in front of an open-air kitchen here in our Welcome Center in Veritas Village, which is in Panama, in the jungles of Panama. And, we're really loving it here. We stay here a lot, and we have communities in Belize and Honduras, Nicaragua, design communities in El Salvador, Costa Rica, and other places as well. And this one is just coming up on starting now in Panama. So we're expanding quickly and wanting to bring the kind of sustainability communities and tiny homes throughout Latin America. So our philosophy, we created the FIRST certification. That's FIRST, and it stands for freedom, independence, resiliency, self-sustainability, and transparency. So it kind of speaks for itself, doesn't really need a lot of explanation, but a lot of people these days are looking for a freer, less expensive, less dependent on government, less dependent on big corporations, big pharma, all those sorts of things, and just for a just more relaxed, less stressful life. And having a smaller home with smaller amounts of maintenance and simplicity of that is also a big part of that. And it just started to rain here, so hopefully we don't have a lightning storm or something and I lose connection. And what do we mean by freedom? I mean, there's a lot of parts to freedom. I think financial freedom is one of the main things, right? If you have a very small cost of living, for instance, in our communities, and we'll talk about this, food production too, like everything from, having our own water on site, having community orchards and gardens where you can just pick your own fruits and vegetables, and small stables for livestock and those sorts of things. And basically you can become very self-sufficient and have almost no cost to living here. And what that means is you're really going to have, the freedom of the much less worries and stresses of your financial situation. You don't have to worry about, the expensive rents and everything and cost of a big home and the taxes up north and that sort of thing. So reduce cost of living, self-sustainability, financial freedom, and that kind of results in the freedom to travel, which I think a lot of people love as well. And especially if you have a tiny home, it's really easy to just kind of lock it up and go or rent it out when you're not there. A lot of people that, we have as neighbors down here will have a tiny home in multiple communities and, rent one out, and that helps pay for their life in the other ones. So reduced cost of living, we have solar systems and wind systems built into all the homes that we have in our communities, and gray water recycling. We do a lot of, your water that goes from your sink and your showers and things like that go into a gray water system that help water the plants on your yard, the orchards and gardens that you have. So you're saving money on electricity, right? Potentially down to zero if you're off grid, which I'm actually in an off grid welcome center right now. We have 100% solar system that we're working on. We have Starlink for our internet. We have totally amazing mountain spring fed water from our well. That's all solar pumped to the home as well. And so everything here is off grid. There's no connection to anything. And obviously that, it's basically free to be here where I am. So that, and, we have community orchards and gardens with bananas and papayas and all those sorts of things that you can grow in tropical regions. So we can just go out and pick a mango and have that for breakfast or whatever, and those sorts of things. So it's really reduces your cost of living almost down to zero if you wanted to. And when you need to do something, you want something fixed or expanded in your home or whatever, the local labor market here is very inexpensive, where you might be paying $50 to $150 for a plumber or something like that in Canada or the US. Down here, we're only going to pay like maybe $20 a day, not an hour, right? So again, self-sufficiency, what do humans need to survive? And in our perspective, it's water, food, shelter, and of course you need some entertainment and something to be fun in life as well. So we have our on-site water sources, great mountain spring-fed wells. We're growing our own food, producing our own power and all those sorts of things. And then obviously we have great amenities. We even have a tilapia pond here in this community, and volleyball courts and pickleball courts and those sorts of things for entertainment. We're going to have a small school, expat school here, and a holistic medicine clinic, and all sorts of different things. Obviously, we have a stream running through it, so you can go fishing and all sorts of different things that you can want to do. We have a little farmers market where people will sell the locals will sell their goods, and so it's a lot of things to do here. And then we're only a few minutes in this case out of Coronado, which is a very nice city with everything you want to do, movie theaters and restaurants and everything. So just on the financial freedom component, we just took a couple examples. One of our homes, for instance, in our Nicaraguan community is right on the beach, a tiny home on the Pacific Ocean, beautiful spot, amazing beach right beside other restaurants and things like that. And it's in a gated community, and $169,900 for the home and, a concrete foundation home, not a home on wheels. And we can do that in Latin America. We don't have any of those kind of rules where it's got to be a tiny home has to be on wheels. And so you have that home on a solid foundation that's going to be around hundreds of years from now, and you get the land for that too. So you compare that, we just took one off of near Vancouver in Surrey, BC in Canada. And, the home is not much to look at, and it's $900,000, and pretty much all the homes there in that area are over $1 million. And the average in the US is almost 750, and likewise in Canada, in Europe and Australia being the same. It's almost impossible to get into some of the home markets in some of these areas. And obviously, if you want to live on the beach in Latin America or in the highlands for a cooler climate, you can do that for much, much less money. And you can get, don't have to worry about getting into that kind of debt and being a slave to your mortgage and all those sorts of high expenses up there. You have that's what I was saying earlier about being, the freedom to travel. If you can buy a home here and even rent it out when you're traveling, that rental can help you pay for your traveling, and you can see the world and live in a beautiful, brand new tiny home, either on the Pacific or the Caribbean Sea or in the highlands. It's pretty amazing life. I mean, I have a great lifestyle. My wife and I have homes in various communities that we've designed and built, and it's great. We can go to the Caribbean for a week or a month or whatever and stay on the beach there, come back to the Pacific, and it's just we're very spoiled that way in terms of having tiny homes in various communities. And I already talked about the freedom to travel, but I think a lot of people that like to simplify and, become more minimalist also really love to travel and see the world, and this kind of lifestyle lets you do that. And a bonus freedom we kind of threw in here is, nobody wants to talk about politics and religion and that sort of thing. But right now, especially I find in North America, Europe as well, certainly Australia as well, these are kind of the areas that a lot of the expats come from to Latin America. There's a lot of political divisiveness. And whether you're, liberal or conservative or Democratic, Republican, whatever it is, with leftist, right version, it doesn't really matter. Here, we're really just about, being together with like-minded people who, love the communities, love the homes they're in, love the natural environment. When we make communities, we leave pretty much untouched. We, even the one I'm in here right now, we followed where the previous farm roads were through the property, so we didn't have to cut trees down and all those sorts of things. We're using the existing water well. And like I said, the stream that runs through here will stay running through here. We're unlike other developers that kind of go to scorched earth and everything starts from the ground up. We like to blend with the environment. And I think a lot of people like that, and we can get together. This is the welcome center I'm at here in this community, but we have this sort of thing in every community where people will have a glass of wine, go to the swimming pool or restaurant and watch a sunset and all get together. And, every evening is kind of fun because you're talking with people that really have no interest in being, talking about the political division, in especially in North America these days. So I'm going to go through a couple of our homes just to give you an opportunity to see what I'm talking about, and encourage you to stop dreaming if you've been thinking about living in a tiny home and trying to think of how you could afford it. Stop dreaming and try to make it a reality. It's definitely worth the lifestyle. And so this is Playa Pacifica in Nicaragua. Nicaragua has proven to be one of the safest countries in all of the Americas. People might think that seems odd, but it is true statistically, and it's very, I love Nicaragua. It was one of the first places I had a second residency in, and it's, still one of my favorite countries in the world. And for those people that didn't really like wearing masks or the vaccine mandates and lockdowns, Nicaragua did none of that. You had a perfectly normal life if you were in Nicaragua. So our community there is called Playa Pacifica, beautiful beachfront spot. This is the Locino home, just under 600 square feet, so technically still a tiny home. This is the one that's starting at 169.9. It's got the solar included. You get the land right by the beach. I mean, if you tried to buy that in California or something, it would be ridiculously expensive. But, it's got lots of community amenities. There's horseback riding, there's a golf course, there's a soccer field, there's frisbee golf, there's pools and dog walking parks and hiking trails and all sorts of things. So this community is amazing, and a really great deal. And this is the Playa Pacifica, sort of the neighborhood in a larger community called Grand Pacifica. And these are the homes. You see the kind of the horseshoe shape of tiny homes and how close you are right to the beach. And just like, throw a stone to the beachfront. And that beach is amazing. Even 20 years ago, I used to go swimming there. And today there's still hardly anybody on it. Great surfing at this community. One of the best surfing spots in Central America. So if you're a surfer, this is a great place to live. Our reef community, which is looking out at the world famous diving island of Roatan, is in Honduras. These homes are even less expensive. They're really modern design. The Delphine here is a 2-bedroom, 2-story tiny home, which you don't usually see very often. And it's starting at 129.9. Again, includes the land, includes the solar systems, all the community amenities. We're going to actually have a great space here with the music studio and stage and stuff like that. So literally right on the Caribbean beach with the sand and the turquoise water, and you can go snorkeling out there. And Roatan is just a short ferry ride across the water, and there's amazing diving there by the reef, Mesoamerican reef. This is just a part, the reef part of a larger community, again, also called, this one's called Gran Atlantita. And it has the bottom of this master plan that you see there is orchards and gardens again. There's monkeys. One of my favorite spots in the world here, because I really am a fan of monkeys. So howler monkeys and capuchin monkeys running around there, and parrots, and it's the true tropical environment. Amazing place to live and have your tiny home right on the Caribbean Ocean. This is from our community, Aruna in Belize. This is on Ambergris Caye, which is the most popular island of Belize has. And it's a little more expensive in Belize than on Honduras or Nicaragua. It's just a little bit more touristy. All these communities have great connections to airlines in the US, Canada, Europe, everywhere. So, easy to get to if you want one just for, temporary, but easy to get to too if it becomes your home. So Aruna is on Ambergris Caye. It's a canal front that this home is the Kokora. It's a little larger, 667 square feet, loft home, really beautiful design, kind of more of that Caribbean look of the home, but great design. And this just shows the part here on the canal where you can, bring a boat right up to your door front. And on the right, the beach there is into a beautiful Caribbean clear lagoon and off of that, you can access right into the Caribbean with the reef. The reef is only about half a mile offshore, not even in some cases, in some areas. And it protects the island and has beautiful water for snorkeling. You can see amazing, colorful fish and turtles, giant sea turtles and everything. It's an amazing place for snorkeling and diving. It's one of them, like Roatan, it's extremely popular for that. And here I'm sitting here in Panama in Veritas Village, and this is the Euphonia home here, 602 square feet, 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Again, there's not too many tiny home makers out there that create 2-bedroom homes, but because we don't have to be the shape of a RV on wheels, we make much more efficient use of the home space. Harkening back to our experience with boating, we try to make everything extremely efficient. And you could use a second bedroom here as a bedroom or an office or den or whatever you really want. And again, I'm here in the Highlands in Panama, so it's a little cooler. And I'm looking out ahead of me. I can't show you right now, but I'm looking out at the ocean. We're just less than 10 minutes from Coronado, which is a community, like I said, with movie theaters, grocery stores, all sorts of things. So it's a really amazing location where you feel more remote, but you're very close to a town with all the amenities that you need. And we have all those amenities here as well. And again, you're getting the solar system, the land, all these community amenities inside a community, and beautiful views of mountains and ocean, different properties, different home sites within the community, and starting at 196. And again, amazing value for those prices. This is the Veritas Village that I'm at here, master plan. You can see, kind of 2/3 of the way on the plan to the right there, you have the creek running through it. So there's actually home sites on both sides of the creek. You can have, golf carts going within we just ordered a solar powered shuttle van that's going to go back and forth from the community to Coronado, the town. So you don't really even need to get on a car. You wouldn't even need a car if you were living here. There's busing and everything everywhere too, and then we'll have our own shuttle. So you have everything here for, food and water and entertainment. The restaurant in the community, like I said, the schools and everything. So this is becoming extremely popular. We're going to be making more Veritas Village communities in the other countries in the region here. And, we're already, getting close to selling out these communities because, without even really advertising, just because there's something different, right? There's a lot of people looking for that freedom and sustainability oriented community. And, providing that is, a lot of people talk about that. It's like, I'd like to do that. I'd like to live in that. I'd like to go into, I don't know, Joshua Tree and build my tiny home or something, but there's not that many people, in fact, almost none, that are actually physically out there creating these kind of communities that are welcoming to people that want tiny homes. So I went through as quickly as I could because I know Zach and Jason are, probably falling behind the Vol, and with Zoom calls, you get to have one at a time. So I didn't want to take up too much of your time and go through pretty quickly, but I do encourage you to ask any questions, and you can contact us at info@ecovillages.life. It's ecovillages.life, not .com, or go to our site, www.ecovillages.life, and you'll see a lot of our communities there, some of which I haven't even mentioned, a lot of the home models and kind of explanations of what we are creating here in these communities. And I think you're really going to love them. I'll see if there's a question. I'm going to need my glasses, and the questions are a little small here. It's just somebody that was having trouble getting into the webinar, but they're in now. So it took them a little while, but they're in now. And that was the only question I see there right now. So, if anybody else has any questions, if we have some time left here, I'm eager to answer them. And if you don't have them now, by all means, please send them to our email address, and we'll be very responsive to get back to you as soon as possible. So with that, I guess I can turn it over to Zach and Jason, and let me know if you're coming back on. If not, I will just end.
It looks like a couple of questions came, streaming in. If you want to attend to those, okay. Or looks like a couple came in right now.
Okay, sure. Yeah, one of the questions from Lolly is, do you rent the homes out for your owners? Yes, each one of our communities has a property and rental management division on it, so we take care of that. I mean, you're always welcome to help out and put your own home on Airbnb, but talk to us about that, because some of the communities are really meant for rentals, because for instance, the Reef in Honduras, there's a kind of a double season, which is unusual because they have the usual kind of European, North American winter season where everybody comes down to go diving. And, from call it December to Easter, kind of April or May. And then the locals from, the affluent folks from El Salvador, Nicaragua, Guatemala, all the area, and even Central or South America, like Brazil and Argentina, come up there. A lot of the countries that, like El Salvador, do not have a Caribbean beachfront. So they want to go to the Caribbean. They go over to Honduras, to Roatan, in this area, La Ceiba, where we're at. And it's considered the tourism triangle there. There's a space where it really rents very well. And given the cost, in that case, $129,900 for a 2-bedroom home that you can rent out, pretty consistently all year, it's a pretty sweet deal. So I definitely recommend that. And obviously the one like Playa Pacifica and Veritas, where I'm sitting here right now, are the same. Highly desired communities. Are you teaming up with investors? Let a little cat out of the bag here. We're in the process of going public right now. So you actually, in a few months, be able to buy shares in our company. But for now, yeah, I mean, if you're interested in investing on a private placement, by all means, contact us. We're growing very rapidly, and we're going to be growing into Costa Rica and Mexico next, probably Ecuador and Argentina as well. I've always wanted to do a vineyard community in the Mendoza area of Argentina. Same kind of freedom, sustainability oriented, but you'd be growing grapes, and it's a lot less expensive than trying to get into Napa Valley or the Okanagan or something in the US and Canada. I think another question just popped up. Do you have any developments in Mexico? Surprisingly, at the moment, no, but we're shopping for property there, and we will in the next year or two. We're excited about Mexico. We've definitely been looking at a lot of properties. I probably looked at 2 or 3 dozen properties. We're very, very specific about the properties that we choose. You have to be able to grow things. You have to be able to be comfortable as a human and as a plant or an animal. It's got to be warm enough to be able to use your pool, and so that's a certain elevation, but high enough in elevation, which means cool enough that you can grow a much larger set of plants. So for the sustainability part, it's very specific that what we look for, and obviously have good water sources and all those sorts of things. So we will be in Mexico soon. and Costa Rica as well. Right now, I encourage you to come and see our communities in Panama and the other countries as well, Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua, etc. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how beautiful the locations are. And each one of these countries has its own, benefits to them, and it's good to look around, even rent for a while in each country and see which one fits you. I'm lucky enough to have a residency in multiple countries down here, so I can go and stay in there. And we have residency program that we kind of work with as well, so to help anybody that wants to get their residency. It's always, I think, great to have a plan B or plan B, C, and D residencies. So if things are going differently than you like in your country, you can always have another place, another landing pad. A few more messages popped up. One of them is, are you hiring? Yeah, we're always hiring. If you're a good project manager for communities, there's always new communities coming up, and we need that. And there's always different kinds of jobs. So send us a message with your skills, and we're happy to take a look at it, and we'll definitely respond to you. I think that's it for the questions that are in, if I am correct.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like there's more in just the general chat, but we're let's see. I guess you got 2 minutes.
Oh, I didn't check the chat, so let me
Yeah,
see if there's
someone said, do you have a rent to own option?
We don't really have a rent to own option. We have some financing options. So ask us, check us, or send us an email and ask us about the options. It depends on which community and which home site and home model you pick. That's kind of tailor each one of the financing options for people to the specific homes and location. But that is an option. Obviously, once your home is completed, you can rent it out and use that rental revenue to offset the mortgage payments and those sorts of things.
Cool. And then one other person had a question about ratio between families versus nomads or singles and small couples like that.
Well, honestly, before COVID, I would say we were, a lot of people maybe in their 40s were buying the homes to rent out now and retire in later. And that was a pretty common story, a pretty common plan. Now we're seeing almost more younger people than more younger people than older people, and from all over the world. The other, we're showing the properties on a almost daily basis. And the other last week or the week before, we had a young couple from Italy, a young couple from the Netherlands, a couple from Canada, a couple from the US, a couple from Australia, and somewhere else, like Germany. And there was basically nobody from the same place, in a row, which I think is great. And it's an amazing demographic, and people with really young kids, like 1 or 2 year olds, to people with teenagers. So it's a great mix, and that just, keeps the communities vibrant.
I love that. Patrick, thank you so much for your time. Really love the presentation. Sounds like everyone enjoyed it and got a lot of value out of it. Thank you, Patrick.
Well, thanks, guys. Always a pleasure to be on your conference, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, we dropped the chat in the chat, another link for the next presentation. We'll see you there. Thanks again, Patrick.
All right. Bye-bye.